90% of people don't reach their goals or even get 50% of the way because they do things that divert them from their path. They do things that change everything. They do things that they didn't even intend on doing. They didn't mean to get distracted. They didn't mean to fall out of the routine, the great routine they were in. It just happens. But I'm going to visualize why it's so important that I'm like a magnet for like helicopters and because it's really peaceful here. Like you don't see any helicopters and planes in every single video, I swear. Like you remember that one? There was like one the other day and there was a helicopter. I just went like British for a second. Remember that one? Anyway, so when you're working towards your goals, you want to stay in one single mindset. It's just reach that goal. But that's just the outcome, alright? There's a lot of steps you have to take to build the foundations to get towards it, and then after you build those foundations, there's a lot of things you have to go through before you even see that goal. Now, it might be an easy goal, like walking 3 times a week. It's pretty easy. But maybe this person can't even walk. Maybe they have to figure out how to walk first, you know? Especially for people who get hospitalized and then they have to learn how to use their legs again, people like that. So for them, it could take them like years, but if they're working on it and if they're slowly building those foundations in the early days, doing the hard stuff, doing the hard yards, then you see like 3 years later they're walking again. You're like, wow, that's so inspiring. How are you walking? So I'm going to visualize this, which is not really something I've ever done before. But I'll do it for you because I like you guys. Alright, here's a whiteboard. Now that's going to blow out completely, but hopefully you'll be able to see it. So I should have another camera here, eh? Like just one just pointing down looking at it. I should definitely do that. I'll do that at some point. I'll have another camera set up on another tripod looking down so you can see what I'm writing. So, goals. Now, you're trying to get from A. You're trying to get from... Oh, you can't see that, can you? You're trying to get from A all the way to B, okay? Now, B is just the outcome. That is the goal. And you are right there. I don't know if you can see this. If this whole video comes out and you won't be able to see this because it's blown out, I really apologize, but hopefully you do. You're there. You're right at the start. You haven't even begun. Okay. And while most people will think that it looks like a straight line, it's not. It never is. Sometimes it can be up and down. Sometimes it can go have a massive dip and then you have this massive rise and it comes all the way back up and you reach your goal. And most of the time it's something a little bit like this. It's something like that. Okay, you deal with a few problems in the early process. You always have a massive problem that you overcome, but once you overcome that problem, you start to see success, and then here we are at B. You've reached your goal. So if you want to become someone who can achieve their goals, you have to do the following. You have to start writing them down. This is cool. I like that I'm doing this. Start writing them down. Okay. Now you can write this down as well. In fact, that'd be cool. We'll make it like a lesson. Alright? Start writing them down. And that doesn't mean just write them down somewhere, forget about it, and never see that again. It doesn't mean writing it in one single Word document, burying it in a folder in your computer and then never seeing it again. It means write your goals everywhere. Write it on your phone, write it in text messages when you're talking to your inner circle, write it in your notes on your computer, write it in a journal. Physically write it, because when you physically write something, it changes everything. That's why like doing this is like, it's crazy because I'm physically writing it, it's much more impactful and I get closer to understanding what I'm trying to say. So if your goal is, I don't know, let's say your goal is to start eating healthier. Eat healthy 5 times a week, all right? If that's the goal, that's the outcome, then what are you going to do to get there? So you're probably going to write the steps down as well. So the second one would be write steps. This one's a different video today because I wanted to actually provide better value. Write steps to achieve them. I also write really slow and messy because I'm a man, and as men we don't care. Right? Write the steps to achieve it. So that doesn't mean just like simple steps. It's like you could have 3 main things that you focus on to get towards your goal, and then you subsection from those. But it could be as easy as writing, all right, what do I do today? What do I need to be doing in a month's time? What do I need to be doing in a year's time to get towards that? So writing the steps doesn't just mean, all right, so here's the steps, and it's just like 3 steps and it's very simple. Like write out how you feel about each step that you're gonna overcome. Write out how you're gonna do it. So if you're trying to eat healthy 5 times a week, maybe your step is start eating healthy 1 time a week. So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to have to go out and buy food, actual food, from the grocery store and cook it. But you don't know how to cook. So you're going to YouTube, watch a tutorial on how to cook. Find an easy meal, something easy, like as easy as chicken and rice, all right? Something easy like that, or a steak or something, all right? Learn how to cook that, cook the meal. All right, cool. You now know 1 meal. All right, so then you can write down things you've learned. So this is the fun bit, learnings. Okay, write all the knowledge you acquire. This is gonna make, I'm so sorry. Okay. Write all the knowledge you acquire, okay? So that means every single time you learn something new along this process, whether that means you went through a phase that, this is a weird sort of angle, sorry. You went through a phase where you had a really massive divot. Say you were trying to run 5 times a week and one day you sprained your ankle and that just wiped you out, all right? Today I learned not to cross over from the footpath back up to the, I don't know, to the, down to the road without looking where I'm putting my feet. Or something like, okay, that's a really dumb excuse, but something, whatever you learn, write it down. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's bad or good. If something has happened along this process between getting from A to B, then write it down. Write down what you learned. It doesn't matter how bad it is, all right? Obviously, if it's super, super personal, just keep it to yourself then. You don't have to be telling everyone about this. I'd made another video where I just said, don't tell your friends everything. It's because there's certain friends you tell certain things. And that's why it's such an important and valuable tool to be writing down the things you learn. I write it down all the time. The other day I wrote in my journal, I have a journal and I write in that every day. And the other day I wrote in my journal, Today, I learned that if you make one wrong turn in Sydney, you end up in the middle of nowhere and you don't know where you are, and you cost yourself like an hour off your trip. So whatever happens, if you learn something new, regardless whether it's good or bad, write it down, because you will learn from writing it down as well, especially if you use pen to paper. If you use pen to paper, it's much more effective. There's something psychologically that clicks with you. It's like, oh damn, like I'm never gonna do that again. So write down everything you learn. After you write your goals, after you write the steps you are going to do to achieve them, and after you write down your learnings along the way, which will be all the way through, right? You might not, you might write a few learnings early in, you might one day you might have learned nothing, and that's okay as well, right? It's not exactly wasted time because you're still working towards your goal. The next thing I would say to do is stay consistent. And everybody's going to be like, oh, everybody says that. Why does everybody say it? Why does everybody stay consistent? Because it is the one thing that's going to get you from A to B. It's the one thing that might actually change how you work on your goals. It's the one thing that will improve your life over time, because it shows that you've been showing up, regardless whether something bad has happened, regardless whether something good has happened. You showed up, and you're still showing up every day. You're getting in and you're getting it done. And it's not just hard grit work. Like, you get a lot of times where it's like little boosters, like you feel amazing from it. And you might even reach 50%, and that's a milestone. So celebrate that. But don't let that be something that diverts you from the path. You're still on that path. And long after you've achieved your goals, you're still on a path anyway as well for the next one, okay? Because I'm sure everybody watching this video has multiple goals in their life. But the reason that's like probably the main reason why 90% of people don't achieve their goals is they don't stay consistent. They don't stay consistent in the reason most people don't reach their goals ever is because they never stay consistent. Or they stay consistent for a period, but then they drop off. They give up, or something happens. Something always happens, alright? But it's the ones that keep on the path regardless of those happenings. They're the ones that succeed. Especially for the things you want to do. Like, if you want it so badly, of course you're going to stay consistent. It's a matter of endurance. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So, in saying that, I think I've nailed like the simple things you need to do. Write down your goals, write down the steps you have to achieve them, write down the learnings, and stay consistent. I would say as a bonus one, I would say communicate with people doing the same thing. If your goal is to bike ride or do an Ironman or whatever, you have to talk to a bunch of other people that do Ironmans. If your goal is to learn how to be a great chef, you have to be talking to a bunch of chefs. You have to know a bunch of chefs. And if you don't know a bunch of chefs, find them, get to know them, talk to them. So it doesn't matter what you do or what your goals are or where you're headed, as long as you're writing them down, making sure you're processing your learnings, doing what you can to improve on what you've got, staying consistent and talking to people about it. There is no way in hell that you'll fail if you don't stay on that path. If you divert, do other things, drop off, give up, have something happen to you in your life and it knocks you off for a long period of time, that's when it's harder to do those things you want to do. The best way to do something is to just show up every day. And I talked about that in another video. I talked about how I didn't even want to be there, but I was showing up for you guys, because it is more important for me to be passing down knowledge that I learn along my journey while I'm in the journey, right? There's a lot of people who go through all this and then they start passing down their knowledge later on. Maybe they hit 30 or 35 and then they start passing down the knowledge because they believe they have enough value by then. But I'm giving value as I'm learning it. I'm 21, I'm young, but as I'm learning things, I want to be passing it on to something. I want to be serving something greater than myself, and that's another thing as well. Is your goal serving you? Is your goal aligning with who you are? And are the things you're doing serving a greater purpose? If this video was helpful at all, check out the other ones. This is the first time I've used like a whiteboard. I'm not going to be doing that too often, by the way. Don't get used to that, but I felt like I'm going to get a whiteboard out. So yeah, enjoy your day.